Good evening, everybody. Welcome to, well, a helpful hints video, we can call it. Yeah, I'm obviously here on my own, sat with a computer that's not fully awake yet. And yeah, we're just going to go through a little bit of helpful hints this evening. Really short video, just to show a lot of the new drivers who have joined MRC, and also a lot of drivers who aren't really familiar or have troubles with recording their footage. Of course, it's something that has been pressed by the stewards and administrators in the past to please record footage. It is required if there is an incident on track that either you want to report another driver for an incident, or you have been reported yourself, and we require the footage for, to make a decision. And a stewarding decision that is fair and equal. And so I'll get straight into it. I will record this for you and I will show you exactly, hopefully you will see what I see. Following that, I hope then we will be able to go through a few of the changes, slight changes and adjustments that we have made about the stewarding process that we're going to look for this season. And run you through some of the penalties if, people aren't following the rules, shall we say. So, I am on PlayStation 5. It is slightly different of how to record your footage on a PlayStation 4. However, the fundamentals are the same. There may be one or two other menus to go through with that. I'm sure if somebody's there in the comment section, you can post up about that. That would be fantastic to help those who have a PlayStation 4 rather than a PlayStation 5. Now, I've just paused it at the moment. To scroll to record, you can create the shortcuts on your controller, or if you have a wheel, you can also, there's usually a share button somewhere on the wheel as well. What you do is, if you're in the game, press or hold the PS button that you have. In this instance, on PS5, you press and hold it. It has actually paused my video. Unfortunately, it is only going to mic audio, but I will run through you with anyway. You will have my voice, just no footage, which is a shame, to be honest. At the top of your screen, you will have the settings function. Go into there and you will scroll down onto where it says captures and broadcasts. In that menu on the PlayStation 5, it will come up with captures as the first point. Click into there and it will say shortcuts for create button. In there, I actually have the button mapping set as easy video clips. That is probably most recommended for MRC and to record footage. So if you press the share button once, it will take a screenshot. If you press and hold it, it will display the create controls, which I will go through later. And if you press twice in quite quick succession, that will start your recording. Now, let me go back to the game so you actually have something on your screens rather than absolutely nothing. So, the PlayStations will always record for 1 full hour from the start. I used to make the mistake of starting my recordings before qualifying, and then halfway through the race, the recording would stop. It can be off-putting if you're not sure where the button is in the middle of a race, if you're with a battle, or it's just a tricky, very busy circuit, such as Monaco, for example. You're not going to have really the time, and you don't really want to lose any focus in finding out the share button and making sure you're recording. So what I've started to do, and I'm sure some of the drivers do this as well, record the footage for qualifying, stop the footage at the end of qualifying, and start the footage again when you start the formation lap. Races are usually 40-45 minutes with the 50% races that we have. Then you should have plenty of time to create a full race video. Now, as discussed, mine is set up to easy video clips. I'm not sure if you will see it on here because we're in broadcast, but if I click which is the left button, top left button on the PS5 remote, that will then either take a screenshot or start recording. It is honestly as easy as that. The PlayStations automatically, when you stop recording, will save your footage. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to come up on here. If it does, fantastic. Let's have a look. If I press and hold, as I did say I would mention, is it going to pop up at the bottom on the stream? It isn't. That is a shame. However, what it has done is it has created a border at the bottom of the screen where I can see my last video footage, my last video. I can save recent gameplay. That is also a key factor. The PlayStation 4's, the menu doesn't come up from the bottom, if I recall correctly. They come in from the left-hand side, where you still have the option to save recent gameplay. That will save the last hour of the gameplay. So if you did forget, it is possible people forget. You caught up in the moment, you caught up ready for the race, setting your setup and the strategy right. You may forget to set up your video, but save recent gameplay will save the last hour, and it will ensure that if the stewards call you for whatever reason, or you have an incident, you can report it with proper footage. I can also take a screenshot, or I can start a new recording from here. However, I have set my controller and on my wheel to double click the share button, and that will start a recording. And there we are. Simple as that. It takes seconds to do. And if we all get into the habit of it, the stewards will not have to keep chasing footage. And then potentially, as has been stressed numerous times before, decisions, you have a fair choice in a decision if somebody would against you. You have your footage, and you can, defend your position in that incident. If you don't have footage, it is more than likely that the decision will go against you because you can't defend. As simple as that. So hopefully we'll get into the habit of doing that. It's a little bit of hint. It's unfortunate that it didn't show you on the stream. Really a shame for that. But I think it just obviously records gameplay rather than main menus. But hopefully if you follow those steps, it is really nice and easy to do. One thing I wanted to go through, quite a few things. Last night, after the team draw, which was highly excitable and highly entertaining and, just very interesting. I'm sure we can all agree there's some absolutely incredible driver pairings next season, and I think all teams are going to be super, super competitive. So I'm sure we're all going to look forward to that. But the stewards had a discussion after that, and we wanted to see where we're going to go going forward. There are a lot of incidents last season that we had no precedent for, or we couldn't penalise poor behaviour, poor driving, poor etiquette. Those are now going to start to be addressed. I'm going to start with qualifying. A lot of drivers finish their fast lap and then retire from the session. This does save the life in your tyres, so you don't have an in-lap. You're not going to put extra wear on the tyres as well. It is possible because a lot of people do an outlap and they may cross the line with 1% wear on their tyres. Some tracks, especially low degradation tracks, you can potentially go around 3/4 to almost the last corner of the lap and have 0% on your tyres on a warm-up lap, and you'll have heat in them, just no wear. Drivers are retiring from the session as soon as they cross the line, and that is saving the life in the tyres. If we see that and there is not a crash, there will be a 10-point license penalty to any driver who retires as soon as they cross the line, finishing their qualifying lap. If it's at the end of the session, naturally the checkered flag comes out and the AI takes over your car. But if this is 2 minutes to go and you retire from the session, you will receive a 10-point license penalty. Don't forget, everything is streamed. The qualifying, the races are streamed live. People know. We will see. There will be no yellow flags. There will be no stoppages to the qualifying. It is very clear what happens. Going on to the races themselves. I'm going to have to cut back to a little bit through that I have saved here for the rule book, because some things are already in the rule book, and it's just something that we're going to refer back to refresh a few people's memory. But the next one is during battling with another driver. Carl's put up there, if they're in the garage. Well, if they're in the garage, then it's where they're on track, Carl. When they've finished a fast lap, if you retire in the garage, your tyres aren't being used anyway. You might as well just stay in the garage. There's no need for you to retire when you're in the garage in qualifying. It's when you finish a fast lap and retire before turn 1. That's what the issue is. You're saving the life in the tyres. If you do an in-lap and sit in the garage at the end of qualifying, that's fine, because as soon as the clock hits 0, your qualifying is over. It's just on track where the issue is. So sorry, during the race, if you are in a battle and you are defending whether the other driver has DRS or just has the slipstream, and you are going down a main straight, when we all weave to either break the toe or take a defensive line. It happens. The rules state, not just in MRC, but in F1, no more than 2 moves could be allowed. We are going to be looking at this and in a situational context. If a driver is, I don't know, 100 yards, 200 yards further back, and the driver in front does weave a little bit to try and break a potential toe, there is not really any danger. However, if the driver is in close proximity and they are trying to make room for an overtake, and the other driver weaves 2-3 times, and also in the braking zone, I must stress, this will result in a penalty. It is going to be 5 points on your license minimum, and it can definitely, and it will escalate for repeat offenders. So the next time you are caught, you will gain 10 points on your license, not just 5. That will then, obviously, the points will add up. And if you get, let's see, to quickly check, I'm not sure how it is, I'll have to come back to that. A certain amount of points, you will get a qualifying ban. Followed by that, you will then get a race ban. No one wants to be excluded from racing in this league. Don't make yourself the target. It's about fair and clean racing, and that is what we're trying to promote here. So 2 moves maximum allowed. If that is you moving to one side and then back to the racing line, so be it. Thanks, Mark. 25 is a qualifying ban, 35 points is a race ban. That will escalate quickly. That is only 3 offences. 3 offences and you're on a qualifying ban. If some of that weaving pushes a driver off the track, as I've mentioned, 5 points minimum. We may see that as a 10 point if another driver is forced off track, or if there is contact through weaving and a driver gets damage. So that is to do with weaving. The rules state no more than 2 moves allowed. Also, no weaving and moving in the braking zones. I'm very conscious you're just looking at a pause screen, so we'll leave it on that for now. I'm not moving. I am at Zandvoort. We are there on Monday, so I thought I would pop the car on track. Mid-race retirements is the next point I'm going to go to. If you are having a poor race and you retire from the session, that will be a 10-point penalty. Mark makes a good point, sorry, just going back to the last one. Remember, it's 1 move if the car is really close, as the standard rules. But max, like we said, you are... If people record the footage, we will look at it all if you feel that it is not fair. But please be aware on track for that. Mid-race retirements in the pit, 10 points penalty. If you're in 15th place, you may be 10 seconds adrift. We have seen many, many, many times in MRC that safety cars can happen within 3 laps of the end, within 4 laps of the end. bunch the pack up, and you are in prime place to get points. It has happened many times on many occasions. If you go in the pits, it is okay, 10-point penalty for retiring in the pit lane. If you retire while you are on track, you will get 15 points to your license. If you deliberately crash your car, whether that brings out a safety car or yellow flags, but if you deliberately crash your car to end your race because you're in 17th or 18th and you feel like, what is the point in me being here, you're having a poor race, you will receive straight away, not points, but a qualifying ban. Doesn't matter how poor your race is to your standards, keep going. Keep going to the end. That is what I must stress. We've actually had a few drivers in recent races who have had, shall we call it, been caught up in a first lap incident. They've raced and they've kept on going. And they've been up there at the end, in the top 5. It happens, and it can happen to anybody. Keep on going. Don't give in, and keep going till the checkered flag drops. That's what we do. We are racers at the end of the day. Keep going. Moving on to the next point. First lap incidents, I should say. Usually, yes, the first lap, it is all very tightly bunched. Everyone's jostling for position, trying to seize an opportunity. Chances that there is going to be contact. Now, we will be looking at first lap incidents just as severely as lap 10, lap 20, lap 30 incidents. Does not matter if you're on the first lap, first corner, or the last lap of the last corner of the last lap. Doesn't matter. Everything will be looked at and punished. I implore drivers to use the rear view mirror function that is available on this game. As you can see on my screen, I use it. It is in the middle at the top of my screen. It doesn't impair me at all. People think, oh, you know, it's going to put me off. It's going to take up a lot of the screen. Look at the track where we are now. You're not looking in the sky. If that's going to put you off, I don't know where you're looking. Not going to lie. It's not putting you off, and it helps. Helps if another drives behind you, and it also helps your peripheral vision. The red arrows, there are always proximity arrows as well. Pay attention to them. It is difficult when you're looking ahead, you're looking sideways, and then you've got the red arrows as well, and you're looking in the mirror. I appreciate, and we all appreciate, you're looking in 5, 6 different places at once. But please be careful, especially lap 1. They will now be punished. It doesn't matter if you're a driver in 15th or you're a driver in 3rd. First lap incidents will be looked at and punished, same as any other lap. Normally we'd say take more care on the first lap. It is tighter. Please try that. The rear view is helpful for the stewards reviewing decisions, because we can also then lose that to see what another car is doing from behind, to see the driver in front's footage, and we can see what the driver is doing behind as well. So that will help. Thanks for that, Mark. Next point is the cars being lapped. We've seen it quite a lot. I mean, we don't have it a lot in terms of drivers getting lapped. Our tiers are usually very, very competitive. However, it does happen. You could have had damage. You could be struggling in a race. I mean, full credit to you people who are getting lapped but are still going. That shows credit, full credit for doing that, and then that's what we encourage. However, if you are not moving out of the way for a lap, for the leaders to come through, you will get 10 points on your license in the first instance of that happening. All cars are set to ghosting. So yes, technically, the lead cars could drive straight through you. That is not only off-putting for them, it is also off-putting for you as well. We encourage drivers to move over at the first opportunity. Now, a tricky circuit such as, I'm going to use Monaco as most of the examples, as a most tricky circuit. It is the most busy and difficult circuit we probably have on the calendar. Find a space as soon as possible, whether it's the outside of a corner, whether it's, somewhere on a straight, and back off the throttle. I wouldn't necessarily say brake, but really back off the throttle to make your intentions clear that you are moving out of the way for lead drivers. There have been many times where leaders are coming through, they are coming to a lapped car with, let's say, a 1.5 seconds advantage. Because of the driver who is being lapped, they will have blue flags. That will flash up, as we all see where the yellow flags come up in the top of our screens. Blue flags do the same thing. I implore drivers to pay attention and move out of the way as soon as possible and make it clear. Drivers will come up behind you, maybe 1.5 seconds gap. They are not sure if the driver ahead has seen them. They don't want to be put off. They may have different braking zones as well. And it is very off-putting. I've seen that. 1.5 seconds can easily be halved within 2 corners. Drivers are not moving out the way. So if they are not moving out the way, we used to say within 3 corners. I think we are going to really, really look into that. And if drivers have any opportunity to move out of the way for the lead cars, please do so at the possible instance. 10 points will be applied to your license if we feel that you did not allow the other car to come through quickly and safely. Next point is a point that's always been here in MRC. And it's actually, there's a setting for it that we use in the lobby so that we disable this option, and we're not sure how drivers are still able to do it. But if a driver is off the track, has spun, is facing the wrong way, or is buried in a barrier, the reset to track option. If you reset to track at any point, you will be disqualified from the results. We can see it, the commentators, myself, Gavin, co-commentators, we all use the full track maps, as you will have seen on our streams. We can see if a driver is spun and that somebody is reset to track. We will see that. We notice it on the map. Do not use reset to track. There seems to be, we use the term quite a lot, is a glitch where even if the setting is set to disabled, some people still can use reset to track. Do not use reset to track. It is an instant disqualification. Also bear in mind that a lot of the tier system in MRC is based through rankings. That will really, really damage your rankings as well. So please bear that in mind. Do not use reset to track. It is an instant disqualification. We're going to move on to before a race starts. Formation lap. Everyone is trying to warm the tyres. Everyone is trying to leave space to accelerate and brake, to weave, to warm the tyres, to get into the right window for the start of the race. There are an extortionate amount of people getting disqualified from qualifying for having contact with another driver. This means your tyres may be cold when you start the race because the AI keeps the temperature in the tyres from when it takes over. So your tyres will be cold. The person you may have had a collision with, their tyres will be cold. So going into turn 1, you are going to be driving on ice. Spins, lockups. It's not fun for you, not fun for the drivers around you either. Keep your distance. People will brake and accelerate. I say quite suddenly. Just please be mindful. Leave a gap. We used to say maximum 10 car lengths. because there are instances of 1 or 2 drivers as well who drop back and drop back and drop back, where they may be 3 or 4 corners behind the rest of the pack. They can accelerate and warm their tyres at any time except those drivers behind. They are going to suffer. It is technically an unfair advantage. It's technically illegal. So maximum length from behind the car in front is 10 car lengths. It's the same for a safety car. Why should it be any different on a formation lap? If you drop back so far to gain that advantage, you, by warming up your tyres and letting the others struggle behind you, you will receive 5 points on your licence. That is also an escalating penalty for repeat offenders. Keep your distance to the car in front, yes, to stop incidents, which will also be looked at now by the stewards, where 5 points escalating as well will be applied, but also keep within 10 car lengths. If you drop really any further back than that, there is no need to. No one is going at full race pace, no one is going that fast. But you will also gain points on your licence. It is technically a form, in essence, it is technically a form of cheating. You are trying to gain an unfair advantage. Well, we appreciate that we have a lot of members now in MRC. I think we're up to nearly 100, I do believe, in MRC across all tiers and reserve drivers, which is outstanding. And we appreciate people are in different time zones as well. We appreciate people have families and other commitments as well outside MRC, that they have finished their race and must and leave straight away. We appreciate that. However, if you are in an incident, as per the rule book, if you must report an incident within 30 minutes of the completion of your race, then we would ask about an hour, at least you get an hour to produce the footage. If you don't have it straight away, ideally we want it straight away. The stewards many times are up till after midnight trying to deal with 2 races on a Monday and 2 races now, as of this season, on a Wednesday night. It is a lot of work, especially if our head steward and our assistant head steward are chasing drivers again and again and again for footage. People haven't got it prepared. Raise your hand in the stewards panel. Make your report to the steward who messages you and produce your footage. We will give you an hour to do that. Same with somebody who has been reported. If you've been involved in an incident and there may have been damage of one sort, or a driver has spun, common sense would dictate that they're going to report it, and you may need footage. Get your footage to stewards as quickly as possible. There are a lot of drivers who will say, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it by lunchtime. I'll do it tomorrow evening. It doesn't take long to do, guys. Please do it as soon as possible. The stewards are up a lot, very late, a lot of the week, trying to get the decisions finalised and the race results finalised. So please do that as soon as possible. If a driver is then reserving in the following tier of the race after, I myself sometimes am victim to that, as I commentate on a tier 1 straight after tier 2. If I'm involved in an instance, there is a little bit of leeway. If a driver is reserving from tier 2 into tier 1, from tier 4 into tier 3, or vice versa, yes, we understand you are racing, you're not going to get your footage straight away. That is an exceptional circumstance. However, please get your footage to us as soon as possible. There is going to be a appeals process. There already is an appeals process in place. What we would like to do is, if you have a decision that goes against you, and you wish to appeal it properly, we would like maybe new footage. It's very difficult because you only have one camera angle, granted, but maybe a longer video if there are any mitigating factors. Well, this incident happened at this corner, but 2 corners before I had a spin, my tyres were overheating, and it was, very difficult to drive the car. This is why this incident happened. Or, we'd like the footage of that, whether it's a 20-second clip, a 30-second video clip. That is absolutely fine. Because rather than being angry or, being, I use the term abusive, but I don't mean it as harshly as that, but abusive towards the steward who is reporting the decision to you. If you wish to appeal, please get some footage or explain why you would like to appeal and if you have reasons for it. If there's not going to be additional footage, the case will probably be rejected. I've just touched on abuse and poor, well, it goes on to poor conduct. We are seeing a high amount of this at the moment, and it's going to come into another case as well. Poor conduct towards any, and I mean any, steward or admin, whether it's abusive language or any of that, that will result in penalties. The stewards and admins all work extremely hard, and we work such long hours to ensure that MRC runs smoothly and everybody enjoys the racing. Please show respect. It's nothing less than they all deserve. If we feel that you are abused in any way to any kind of steward or admin, a penalty will apply. First instance, you will gain 10 points on your license. The second time will be 15 points on your license, which is an instant qualifying ban. The next time will result in a race ban. So if we feel in a season at any point you are out of line in terms of the way and disrespectful to any steward, any admin, this is what will happen. Please show respect. No stewards, no admins get paid for this. There may be another point where we might have to start charging people to race. I mean, not gonna lie, but I mean, I'm sure we're going to have some Iron Brew sponsorship soon. Gav's working hard on that one. He is really plugging that, so I'm sure that's going to happen. But we work hard. We spend a lot of time amongst families, friends, our day-to-day jobs to ensure that this league runs smoothly and fairly. And I know everybody enjoys this league. That is why we have grown to the extent that we have. That is why we are still having people joining, even when we're full. Moving on from stewards and admins, please respect your other drivers. This includes calling people out on the Discord. That is a no-no. Please do not do that. There are many, many instances where admins have had to come in very quickly and stop any calling out on the Discord. If you have a disagreement, if you are not happy with the way that driver has conducted themselves on track with you, bring it to the stewards or admin's attention in a personal message. Do not make that public on Discord. We have such a variety of people in this community. Different ages, different races, different countries, different backgrounds, different genders. You're not 100% all the time who you are talking to. We have people here, and I'm going to make this very broad, who suffer with mental health issues. You do not know what your words will do to affect that person. One little word of what do you think you're doing in a public environment on Discord can honestly be so destructive to that person. There have been instances where somebody has been called out, and I know this for a fact because they've spoken to me about it. No names are ever going to be mentioned, of course, but they have spoken to me about it, where they have been called out on Discord publicly, and all they want to do is leave. They want to leave the league, they want to leave racing, they want to leave gaming, and more. Do not do it. Simple. That is the effect words can have on someone. No calling anybody out on Discord. If you have a problem with somebody who was on track, whether it was an accident, an incident that took place, the steward, we have stewards, we have administrators. Bring it to their attention discreetly, please. If it is an on-track incident, chances are that stewards may look at it. We will then deal with it. Tempers run high, adrenaline gets going because it's, it's what we do. We love to race. Adrenaline is there. Tempers are high. Emotions are there. I understand that. We all understand that. Please be respectful. There is no need to make it public. We have a number of drivers, and I'll be honest, I am in a very fortunate position. I do speak to a lot of the drivers here, and a lot of drivers will message me after different races for different reasons, and some will go and have a beer if they drink. Some people will go for a cigarette if they smoke. Some people will just go and stand outside, have a cool down away from the screen for a few minutes to calm tempers down or anything like that. Don't need to make it public and potentially damage somebody's mental health or damage their self-esteem, damage their confidence. Not needed. So no abuse or disrespect to stewards or admins. No abuse or disrespect to any other competitor or member of the MRC community. It is now going to be dealt with very harshly. And that's what I'm going to say on that one. Practice sessions. There are a lot more practice sessions now because we have a lot more drivers. And usually we have a lot of different tiers mixing in those practice sessions. And I think that's a really good thing. We have the drivers from Tier 4 and Tier 3 mixing with the drivers from Tier 1 and Tier 2, the top drivers as well, the quickest drivers. And it is exciting. And it helps especially the bottom people join and improve. So fantastic. However, please be aware when you're on track in a practice session. We have different people doing race simulators, qualifying runs, and everyone's different levels and skill levels as well. If a driver is catching up with you, please use the track maps. You can see it on mine. I use the small map on the bottom left corner of my screen. I also have the rear view mirror option. Use both of those and you will know when a driver is coming close to you. There are many times myself, and I know a lot of the other top drivers have moved, even on their race simulation runs, or even they may have made a mistake on their quality run, but they want to get a representative lap time in. They will still move out of the way. And I implore drivers to do that and be very, very aware. There have also been accidents and incidents where people have come together on a practice session. That just should not happen. It is a practice session. Show respect to drivers, be aware, and give room. Allow drivers to continue with their session if they are quicker than you. We are going to look at making some of the practice sessions more tier specific. We haven't finalized anything yet, but it's something that is in the pipeline, and that may be, for example, Thursday practice may be for tier 1 and 2. Friday may also be for tiers 1 and 2. Sunday may be open to all tiers, maybe like 2 and 3, maybe. And there's going to be the Tuesday practice session for tiers 3 and 4. Bearing in mind, tiers 1 and 2 don't technically need to be in a Tuesday session. Their race was on the Monday. Whereas tiers 3 and 4, their race on the Wednesday. It is more relevant to them. So we may be looking at that to help with that. But we also want a lot of tiers to mix. We also want drivers to improve. That is why we're here. That's why we have such a great league. And it's also why we're introducing the driver coaches. But that is for another video and for the Discord. If there is a bit of bad driving in the practice sessions, these are going to also be monitored on a 3-strike system. Not penalties, on a strike system. If you accumulate 3 strikes for bad driving, whether that is accidents with other drivers, holding people up, not moving out the way, and then deciding to race another driver for no reason, you've held them up for half a lap and then decide to race them, that is also bad driving. If you accumulate 3 strikes, you will be banned from all practice sessions for 1 full week. That doesn't mean, well, I did it and practice 3 on a Sunday, so I just missed Sunday and the Tuesday if you're tier 3 or tier 4. And you can join again next week. No, you're out for the week. You will not join for a full week. More severe infringements, so collisions that really damage another driver's run, of course we turn the damage off, but if they damage another driver, really are serious incidences, they may still result in a penalty. It is dangerous driving. Doesn't matter if it's practice, doesn't matter if it's the practice races that we do with no damage, they will still result, or can potentially still result in a penalty. We all know that Codemasters are the kings now. I think that's the best way to describe them. They are the kings of the glitch. We have seen some absolutely fantastic glitches this season, well, last season, I should say. Whether it's the timing glitches that we get on the stream, or we get the infamous, I'm going to use him, sorry, the tier 3 glitch where the cars disappeared and went at the end of the safety car, and for one driver, he went and was half a lap ahead by the rest of the drivers. That was a great one. I'm not going to lie, that was a great glitch. The glitches we cannot really do anything about. It is very difficult because it happens to solo drivers. They will be reviewed though on a case-by-case basis. If something happens and someone says they were a complete glitch and they send the stewards footage, which is obviously going to be key, they will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. For example, we have had a few people get a drive-through under virtual safety car as soon as the virtual safety car comes out. Or when people use the pit assists and the car speeds itself up sometimes to go into the pit lane, then they're going to be like plus on the delta, and that's going to cause them to get a penalty. That might give them a drive-through penalty. Now, what we would have to look at is we would want footage from that to show that you were behind the delta, it was a glitch, whatever reason, and there is potential to look at the race results to see how much time you have either gained or lost, and that can be used by the stewards. It is unfair for a driver to be punished through a glitch. We all get glitches. We're no strangers. If you follow the MRC during the season, that we are no strangers to a glitch, and yeah, we're going to look at that in case by case and judge it accordingly to how much time either a driver gained or a driver lost. And it's got to be fair. It has to be fair. For example, if a driver gets a drive-through penalty, we'll see how long it takes them to get to the pit lane, and there is potential for that driver to have that time rescinded, taken away from them. However, let's use an example. There is a virtual safety car on lap 5 of the Grand Prix. They get a drive-through penalty, which they have to serve. So they are 23 seconds further down the road, through no fault of their own, through a glitch. there is the victim of the glitch apologizes for Tier 3 Belgium. For those who haven't seen the comments and are watching this back, but he does apologise. But if there is a glitch where you do get a drive-through penalty on, let's say, lap 5 of the race, and you have to serve it, you'll be 23 seconds, let's say, further down the road. If there is a safety car later in that race, the stewards will look at the safety car, as they do with every kind of incident where there is 5 seconds to be taken off, or 5 seconds for another driver. That will be applied in this instance as well. So, for example, there's 4 laps left, they may get 4 seconds removed. Potentially. It will all glitches will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. I think, ladies and gents, we've been sat here for quite a while now. Actually, a bit longer than I thought it was going to go. There was quite a lot that the stewards discussed last night. I'm sure you can agree. I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that everybody understands what the stewards are looking for, of how we want to steward the racing here. We want it to be fair. We want it to be clean. And the stewards are going to be a little bit harsher, I feel, these next few seasons. It's only fair that we are a very clean league. We have very, very talented drivers. And for a little slap on the wrist sometimes, bigger punishments will be looked at, depending on, for example, a small instance that may be a 5-second penalty to a driver. If the victim of the incident actually received wing damage or was spun, that may be looked at as well as a consequence of a potential tap or something that was quite innocuous. That will also be looked at. So we're trying to promote that, and we're trying to get everybody racing and be competitive. That is what we're all about. That's why we do it. Hopefully everybody now knows a little bit of how to record your footage. It is one of our, what you say, is a requirement in MRC. We hope that you found it helpful. If you're still stuck, please either refer back to this or as a talk-through guide, or please ask in the Discord. There's always people willing and ready to help, and we'll talk you through it, especially if you're on a different console to myself. I'm on the PS5. If you're on a PlayStation 4, it is slightly different. Please pop up and ask of how to save it, and get into the habit of doing it for qualifying sessions, racing, even practice. If you start to do it in a practice, you'll do it every time you start to race an MRC, and that is not a bad thing. You can they are stored on your PlayStation. It is easy to delete them when they're not needed, to clear the space. It's a good idea to get into the habit of even recording every session that you do. I hope as well now you understand what the stewards are going to be looking for from Season 6 onwards. And, we just want to have racing. We want everyone to enjoy it. We want everyone to have fun. And that's what we're here for at the end of the day. I've now bored you enough. You are sick of looking at my Mercedes. I'm not, but I'm sure all of you are. Hopefully a few of you, or quite a lot of you, will get to see the rear wing of my Mercedes when the season kicks off on Monday night. We will be here in Zandvoort, starting at 7 o'clock for the Tier 2 opening race of the season, with, of course, our Scottish Banshee. Who else? He will be here to give you all of the action live on the MRC channel, followed by, I do believe it's myself this week, in the Tier 1 race. That is at 8:45. And then followed on Wednesday, here in Zandvoort, again, by myself and Gav, bringing you Tier 3 and our newly formed Tier 4 Championship. Lots of new drivers, a lot of people moving tiers, moving teams. So it's going to be a very exciting season ahead. Honestly, I can't wait. I know everybody is really excited to get going. So I might do a few laps of practice of Zandvoort. I know that a few people practicing now. We've got a big practice session tomorrow, Friday, Sunday and Tuesday. If you can join it, fantastic. We look forward to seeing you there. If not, tune in on Monday, Tier 2 at 7 PM with our Banshee, Mr. Jenkins, and myself at Tier 1. And we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you find this useful and informative. And we will see you soon. Take care, everybody.